how much is the amount which will be in shape of loans? How much will be the amount that will be in terms or in the shape of investment in Pakistan?
So you talk about this country framework cooperation agreement or this framework. This is for the 10 years. And the total lending, if you talk about it, would be around about 40 billion US dollar. The 14 billion will come from the International Development Association, and the 6 billion, it will come from the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. If you look at it from the 2010 onward, we are having a flood every other year. In 2010, we have one of the worst flood. Then in 2022, even we have the worst flood than the 2010.
What do you think? There will be any mechanism to check whether this amount which is going to be spent will be reaching to the right and deserving people, or it doesn't go to the corrupt pockets?
World Bank and their related institutions like IFC and other multilateral investment agencies, they will be monitoring so where the investment is going.
If the money comes from World Bank, who will be the key person who will be keeping eye? Because reform sector is not an ordinary thing. There has to be certain experts.
If you want to make reforms successful in any sector,
and including governance?
In any sector, you have to reform your governance system.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, World Bank has signed a country partnership agreement with Pakistan for a period of 10 years. And good aspect of this partnership agreement is that World Bank phase-wise going to spend overall $40 billion in Pakistan. What is the break of this amount? How much amount will be in shape of investment? How much amount would be in shape of grants? How much amount would be in shape of loans? And which areas in Pakistan are going to be getting benefit of this huge investment by the World Bank in next 10 years? To discuss this all, we are fortunate to have with us one of the senior most development sector expert and analyst, Mr. Shakeel Ramay, who has a deep understanding of foreign assistance and aid, which comes from different international development institutions, including IMF, World Bank, different institutions. So, Mr. Shakeel Ramay, very warm welcome to Program Insight in V News English. So, this is indeed a very, very ambitious program by World Bank. Next 10 years, it is going to be overall spending more than $40 billion, which is a huge amount. First, share a breakup with us. How much is the amount which will be in shape of loans? How much will be the amount that will be in terms or in the shape of investment in Pakistan? Please.
Thank you, Mateen sir, for inviting me here. I think it's a good news in the context if we look at last 3-4 years. So everybody was talking about the default of Pakistan. And after this program and CPEC 2, so the debate on the default of Pakistan has been vanished from the surface, and I think it is a good news. But when we look at this, you talk about this country framework cooperation agreement or this framework, this is for the 10 years, and the total lending, if you talk about it, would be around about 40 billion US dollar.
It's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount, but it's a lending.
It's a lending.
Loan. So if we look at the breakup, the 14 billion will come from the International Development Association, and the 6 billion, it will come from the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. So that means 20 billions are coming from the two big institutes. And the remaining 20 billion, that will be, it is as it is proposed in the framework, cooperation framework, it will be from the private sector. And from the private sector, if you look at that, and it will be facilitated by International Finance Corporation and a multilateral investment grant agency. These are the agencies which are extend their support for the countries to give the grantees to the private investors. Go and bring your money.
And investment. Even it is an encouraging thing that international financial institutions will be giving guarantee of secure investment in Pakistan to the leading private sector companies.
To come here in Pakistan.
Exactly.
And I think that is a good initiative. And we can see if in the long term, if you look at the program, it identifies the most relevant areas. For example, it talk about energy sustainability. It talk about the child stunting. Pakistan has one of the highest child stunting rate. And if we around about 45, I forget the figure, but it is one of the very serious problem for the Pakistan. Then it's talk about the learning poverty.
Learning poverty.
That is
what is this term, please?
It means so the children who are in school are the, you can say children are the little bit grown up, the children. So they are not getting the into a education. What is required to develop a healthy and efficient human capital? And the latest World Bank report, it indicated that Pakistan has a 78% learning poverty. So World Bank has identified this one area to work on. They will work on with the Pakistani institutions to strengthen.
They will spend money.
They will strengthen the ability of the kids. They will also be talking about the STEM education, science, technology, and the mathematics education. They will bring in the focus there. And the human capital, one of the very important area for Pakistan. Because if we look at the 26 million kids, they are out of school. It's straightforward.
So they will be landing in that particular sector.
This is one sector. I'm just putting in the focus. 26 million are out of school according to government statistics. And then we forget there are the many million students according to the government statistics. It's 6 to 7 million kids who are in madrasas. So that means they also need education to turn them into the efficient,
useful,
human
and productive
capital.
Citizens.
And the human capital, which can be consumed in the different industry, in the different sectors and enterprises. So that is one area. Second, the climate change,
which is most crucial area in Pakistan.
Crucial area for Pakistan. If you look at it from the 2010 onward, we are having a flood every other year. In 2010, we have one of the worst flood. Then in 2022, even we have the worst flood than the 2010. And so government, in the initial statistics of the government, they were saying it is around about $30 billion loss due to the flood in 2022. That is a huge loss. If you look at the Pakistani economy, at that time, Pakistan was struggling to secure $1 billion from the IMF and was ready to do everything. And now you imagine that the 30 million washed away in one stroke. So that is a huge problem. So World Bank will be investing on the flood mechanism to counter the flood mechanism, to combat those challenges, and also to ensure the food security. Because agriculture is one of the worst affected area of the climate change when investment come here. And fortunately, when I mention here, so there is a minister for a coordinator for the climate change. He is a quite active, Mr. Ramina. He was talking about how to gear up for this investment and to bring more investment in the Pakistan to build the Pakistan capacity. So I think the Minister of Climate Change is doing good, and this additional funding, not funding, it's a lending, will help to build their capacity and run their affairs in a better way. And then it is also talking about energy. Energy is everybody talk about that. Then
high cost of energy is a factor of worrisome for everyone in Pakistan.
But there is a very interesting, you can say, or a hard factor also affect. So the World Bank was a part of that. Because in 1994, when the power policy was made and the IPPs were created, so World Bank and USAID, they created a special fund to facilitate the IPPs, and they were admiring. So it's a wonderful policy to execute, and that policy has really destroyed the basis of Pakistani economy. I think so. If they are going to invest on that to mend our ways, as you can say, reform our energy sector, I think that you should also take some blame. So what they did, they were promoting this policy. They were saying it's one of the best policy available, like that.
So, while this delegation was meeting Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif said one of the sentence that government is also committed in eradicating corruption. Now, question is, commitment has been shown, but corruption is one of the most serious issue in Pakistan. So, what do you think? There will be any mechanism to check whether this amount which is going to be spent will be reaching to the right and deserving people? or it doesn't go to the corrupt pockets?
And they will create our data, and they will create a special data center, and they will also create a special M&E lab. So the World Bank and their related institutions like IFC and other multilateral investment agencies, they will be monitoring so where the investment is going. They will keeping
it may not go unnoticed.
They will keep a very keen eye on so what they are lending, where it is going. That's why after 5 years in 2030, there will be a review.
After 5 years.
After 5 years. And on the basis of that review, they will extend for the next 5 years. So it's not like that.
There is a mechanism.
There is a mechanism. And there is not like that they give the money, you go spend anywhere. They will keep an eye where you are spending.
Through their consultants, through experts.
Because look, data. They will collect the data. Okay, we give this much money to construct a school.
Exactly.
So in that area, that location you committed will be constructed. And give one example. So after 1 year or 2 year completion, when they will say we will complete, they will go and check where is that school.
So school has to be shown.
School has to be shown. And shown that it has been built by your investment.
And properly operational and imparting education.
And the money which you have given, that did not be spent on other activities. So that they will be having a very robust...
Tough conditions.
Not tough conditions, you can say a very robust M&E system. Money and evaluation system. So that is required. I think when it would happen, so definitely there are chances of the corruption become minimized.
Mr. Ramay, you spoke about human development, that spending more on human capital. When we talk of human capital, health is one of the most sensitive issue in Pakistan. Yet a very large number of Pakistani population doesn't have access to the quality health services in public sector hospitals. So share that health is also one of the sector which is going to benefit.
Yeah, and for me, the special focus would be the stunting, child stunting. Why the child is stunting? Due to the bad medical facilities and the bad high diet. So it's the quality of the food and the diversity of the food. Because when you are growing especially, you need a diversity of the food. You need the protein, you need the calcium, you need everything. So you need the meat, you need food, the fruits, you need the vegetables,
this is all called nutrition,
lentils.
Exactly, nutrition.
So they have to bring together everything. So that they have the target, they will be going, I think 30 million kids they will be taking care of in the next 10 years, who they can prevent the stunting there. So that will be one of the key areas, because if you control that, you can say you are nipping the evil at the bud. Because once they are grown well, so they can survive well.
Productive
they can survive well and they will be productive. Because when you are growing, so you need healthy food because your mind is growing. If you have the quality mind and the healthy mind, so you can go for a good education. And then the learning poverty can come down. So it's the multiple benefits.
Another important thing is institutional reforms. Mr. Ramay, you have been very in-depth study about this. Institutional reforms have been an ongoing process for last decades and decades. We have been listening that reforms process in FBR, economic reforms, educational reforms, reforms in business sector, reforms in different. So do you think if the money comes from World Bank, who will be the key person who will be keeping eye? Because reform sector is not an ordinary thing. There has to be certain experts.
Actually, if you want to make reforms successful in any sector,
and including governance,
in any sector, you have to reform your governance system.
Bottom line is
because if you look at your institutions, bureaucracy is a mainstay of the governance. They are the state servants who run the governance. Policy maker change. 1 year there is one political party, other years there is another political party, one government change, other change. But the real estate, the state, you can say tools or the instruments or the state runner, it is a bureaucracy.
What is to be changed then?
In a bureaucracy, the fundamentally recruitment process.
Because
right now, so you can go to any ministry with any degree. For example,
any ministry with any degree.
because you have, if even you are a simple bachelor in arts and you qualified for the CSS, and then you can join any ministry. You can go to the health ministry, you can go to the engineering ministry, and you can go to any other ministry. That system must reform. Because if you have to run a finance ministry, you need the political economists, finance experts. You don't need a simple bachelor or a medical doctors or engineers. If you have to run the planning, you need specific planners, economists, and the engineers. Engineers are very key in the design.
True.
Because they design the infrastructure. If you have go to other ministry like health, you need the doctors there. If you need a climate change, you need environment experts there.
You think this will happen in Pakistan?
So I don't know if this will, but the fundamental thing would be to reform the recruitment process.
Right person at the right job.
Right person at the right job, one thing, and second thing. When you recruit person for a ministry, they should be stationed in that ministry. It should not be like after every 2-3 years, they are roaming in one ministry to other ministry.
Sent to Peshawar, Quetta, Karachi. No.
One ministry to other. For example, they spend 2 years in the Ministry of Climate Change. Next 2 years, he may be going to the Ministry of the Petroleum.
Or Ministry of Religious Affairs.
No, religious affairs, I mean, petroleum, I'll give an example. They are the pole apart from each other.
Oh my goodness.
Petroleum is one of the key areas where the pollution, where the environment degradations or the climate change impacts are coming. And environment. So tell me how a person who is defending to the environment, how can he be defending the petroleum tomorrow? So where you bring the people for in foreign office, you meet those people. They are here for the last 20 years.
The soft face of Pakistan, exactly.
They are there for the last 20 or 30 years. Just start there and they finish there.
Finish over there. They get retired.
You must have seen, because you are going there for many last 2 decades. You are going to the foreign office. You must have seen the kids now who has been grown to be the different
ambassadors even.
Ambassadors.
Exactly.
So, and you can compare their capacities and other ministries' capacities.
This is very, very important point you have. Their capacities
and other ministries' capacities. So there's the recruitment. There's one thing, the recruitment process. Then there are the job functions. They should stay in the ministry. One thing. And third thing, so you have one new category. You hire people for the district administration. And you are bringing...
This important sector, district administration and management. Exactly.
Management. And then you bring into the ministries to run the Ministry of Food Security, Ministry of the Environment, Ministry of that. So the fundamental reforms are required there. So what is needed, that should be there.
So precisely then we will move on to the next. You think in next 5 years, as you said, after 5 years, there will be a review. Within 5 years, initial goals are expected to be achieved?
Yes, definitely. That is, I think that is one of the conditionality to bring into the fund lending or the loans for the next 5 years. Because they want to make it sure.
True.
So what they are giving, that isn't being spent on the same place. But this time, what I can say, the World Bank is the allied institutions which are being part here. They should also admit their mistakes. What they have done with the Pakistani economy.
In the past.
In the past. Like I gave you one example, power policy in 1994.
They were sovereign guarantees by the World Bank.
That's what I'm saying. So if we are suffering only due to one thing, that is the IPPs. And that was supported and funded by World Bank. So,
but now they are committed to review it, definitely. But too late.
So what's too late? The damage has been done. So one thing. And second thing, World Bank should try to promote partnerships and bringing more investment in Pakistan.
In private sector.
In the private sector, in the government sector, like CPAC. They should stop talking about the CPAC in the negative way. Rather, they should say, let's be partner. Definitely, like the China, if you talk to the Chinese side, they say, we welcome any initiative for the Pakistan which can bring the economic positivity in Pakistan. So, and they are ready to work with that. So like that way, the World Bank should also try to develop linkages of the partnerships
with
and the support that. And should stop saying like that, oh, you are not doing the right thing. If you talk about there's something lending or there's some loans, for example, in the CPAC, the first phase, there was only 5.7 billion loan. From the 52 billion which were committed, only 5.7 billion was loan. Then if that is the problem, then what do you think about the 40 billion loan?
Very right. Very right.
So that's when you are bringing the worst case then scenario for Pakistan. No, you need to work together with other opportunities which are coming to Pakistan and try to strengthen it.
Another important sector which is, of course, you are an expert on China. You have seen China's exports going into the trillions of dollars. Under this country partnership program, Pakistan exports sector is also the target. Tell us in the next 5 years, what needs to be done so that Pakistan may enhance its exports? Because if there are exports, more money in the kitty.
Look, for that purpose, we need to start with the strengths.
With our?
Strengths.
Strength.
What are our strengths? Where are the strengths?
What we are producing.
What we are producing and quality we are producing. So one of the key strengths is our agriculture. And in China, they have the huge market for the agriculture products and billions of dollars and hundreds of billions of dollars they are importing the food every year. If they can import the food from other countries, why they cannot import from Pakistan? We have signed the second phase free trade agreement with China, which gave us so many leverages to export the stuff there. Apart from China, we can export to the Middle East. Saudi Arabia import more than 80% of its food.
From where?
No, from the world.
From different countries of the world.
If they consume 100, you can say naan. So they import 80 naans.
My goodness.
So there's a huge volume of the imports. And then look at the Kuwait. They also import more than 80,
rich country.
80% of our food. Qatar is like that. UAE is like that. So markets are in the neighborhood. Just what we have to ensure is produce the quality products and meet the international contact standards. And the photocentric and photocentric images, we have to implement those. So that can bring a lot of money for Pakistan within no time. Why I'm saying no time? Right now, Pakistan had facing problem in the agriculture production. We have one of the lowest agriculture productivity in the world. Why? Because we have the low quality seed. If we provide this quality seed to the farmer, everybody, at least we can double the production.
Quality crop, exactly.
And the production, if we are producing 1 month, we can produce a 2 month. So this can bring more money. For example, this year, if the rice had brought us $4 billion US, more than $4 billion, so next year we can bring more. It's like other things, like wheat. If we are not able to produce not self-sufficient,
we need to import it.
If we double that number, you think about what we can export.
Exactly.
Like other sectors.
These are the shortcut solutions.
Not shortcut, these are very practical solutions. Because in 1 year you can do it.
Better seed, better crop.
Better crop. Then in the short term, and this is immediate, and in the short term, 4 or 5 years, you can establish the food industry. Do the good packaging. Bring the fruit. For example, from Sargodha, you can produce a quality citrus juice.
Exactly.
Juice. And then in the
original
Swat,
organic juice, exactly.
In Aswat, you can bring the apple juice.
Apricots and apples.
The Balochistan, also you can go for the Kalat and these areas. You
Apples.
Can go. Apple juice. Then you have the dates. So you have so many things, but just you need to focus on that. What is problem with us? We just go after like the glittering things, like everybody talk about technology. Yes, we have to prepare on that.
Industry and technology.
We have to do that.
But agriculture is the lifeline.
But what is our strength?
Is agriculture.
Agriculture. Because right now in technology, what we have apart from the human capital, we are exporting some softwares. Do we produce laptops? Do we produce mobiles? Do we produce a machinery? The latest machinery, robots or something like that? So where is our capacity? In the human capital, work on that.
Exactly.
And work for the long term to build the capacity to make your products here. But in the short term, work according to their situation.
True.
For instance, it's like that, Mateen sir. You come to me, you ask me, I have to buy a car.
True.
And you propose me, go for this high profile, this is Ferrari, Lamborghini, this guy, wonderful cars, and these are wonderful luxuries, no doubt they are the cars like that. But I don't have the money. I have the money to find a Mehran.
Exactly.
So why I should do like that? I should take a loan here and there,
From the
running after
bank,
that and become a
exactly.
bankrupt.
Hmm.
My problem is communication. Either you can say my problem is conveyance. I have the conveyance and the money. After 5 years, you can afford anything.
Exactly. The moment the income bracket goes higher, exactly.
So work according to the situation. That is should be the top priority of government of Pakistan.
Another important sector is, of course, two critical sectors on which government has been emphasizing. And these two sectors are also the target of this partnership agreement with the World Bank. And I need your critical analysis. One is this taxation, mesulat, revenues, and another one is privatization. So last year you have seen PIA privatization could not take place because no one was ready to get the liability of dying airlines. So please share with us these two aspects, how we can improve tax collection and particularly tax from the wealthy and from the big companies, and then this particular privatization.
Look, Mateen sir, people are paying taxes, indirect taxes. What product you get without paying tax? Tell me.
People do ask exactly that they are paying taxes, and in return, what is given to them?
What they're paying everyone. So then, who is paying taxes? The salaried class. And these peoples.
Exactly. Mostly this time it was admitted.
And why government take tax? Fundamental problem you have to identify.
They say that they need to spend on infrastructure development.
No, the institution or the state promise provide you quality education,
quality health, social welfare,
food security. For example, in our constitution, I think Article 25A specifically talk about the state will ensure the education.
Free education, exactly.
So where is that education? Now, 44% kids are in the private schools.
44% of Pakistani kids are in private sector. My goodness.
This is the statistics from the government of Pakistan. Education statistics.
It's a complete no confidence on public sector education.
So, if I want to send my
better
kid
education.
for the education, I go to the private sector. If I want to go for the health, I go to the private sector. In E11, I could not find a proper park for the kids.
My goodness.
I'm giving the example of
which
the
is,
most elite sectors.
Which is must for their healthy growth.
I'm giving you example from the most elite sectors.
There are no parks.
I could not find it. There's only one small park which I find near the Markaz E11-3. So when people say, on one side we are paying every type of the tax, what else do you want from us? And what you will give us?
Clean drinking water.
And on the other side, if you look at the perks of the bureaucracy, of the military, of our politicians, everybody.
I would like to seek your comment. Just a day before, the Senate of Pakistan got approved 500% increase in the salaries of senators.
Senators and other parliamentarians.
Exactly.
So which
previously the National Assembly, now the senators.
Which party protest on that?
None of the parties. Because all are the beneficiaries.
We take claim, so they are doing everything for the people. So they also accepted and signed it.
Exactly, because they are also beneficiary.
So what I'm saying, so this is the matter of the people. People have to take, and for the tax reforms, World Bank has to talk to them. Look, tax reforms are conditional to these things, and you have to do it.
Conditions are to be set by the World Bank.
Bring it down. If you look around any government official, you look at their perks. They're having the house, they are having the cars, they are having everything. Even what they did, they are not going to the government institutions for the health facilities, for the education. Because they know the status of the education, what is the status of education, they know that because they are doing there.
These some of the ambitious things.
There should be made mandatory.
Mandatory.
For all the politicians, for all the government officials, either from the military, from the bureaucracy, their kids must go to the government schools. It should, and those government schools should not be built separately for them.
This is another important point. Same
Like-
schools,
like the big-
but standard needs to be
Like the
enhanced.
Hutchison, not should we build another other Hutchisons.
Mhm.
When their kids will go to those schools,
Mhm.
they will make sure the standard is fine, the infrastructure is fine. They will use their PIMS hospital, they will make sure the machinery is fine, medicine is reaching there.
So,
And then automatically people will pay.
Hmm.
One thing, second, bring those sectors under, so which are not paying. Who is avoiding the taxes?
Hmm.
Like for example, I
Elite.
was just reading a story from a US. They're saying if you earn 1 million, how much tax you will pay, and if you earn, if you are a businessman,
Hmm.
how much you will pay. There was a huge difference.
Very good.
So same as here.
Hmm.
So the capitalist system.
Hmm.
So that is the real problem. So you have to work on that. And second thing we will talk about
Privatization.
privatization. From the very first day, I'm against it.
Against the privatization.
Yes. Because to run a state,
Hmm.
you cannot only trust or you cannot only rely on the tax money.
Hmm.
Because
But it is not the government job to run the business.
no,
Government needs to
it's a government. Then what is the job of the government?
to
Just to
introduce
enjoy the perks?
regulations,
Need
policies,
to enjoy the perks?
facilitation.
To enjoy the perks?
Hmm.
Because look, in society that run the country, you need to build parks, schools, education, everything. And for that, bro, you need money. And tax cannot.
It taxes a very little percentage.
Little
But
percentage.
these,
And with every year, your population increase.
That's
Your
exactly that is the fact.
expenditures will increase.
Exactly.
You need non-tax revenue also.
But these commercial
Yeah, I gave
entities
you
are
one-
not producing wealth. This
Why
is
they are
what
not producing is a governance.
Hmm.
When you put a bureaucrat head of any institution, or the army general to head of an institution, so they don't know what is the economic justification of that. You bring
Business plans.
you
are
bring
things.
the efficient people there. You learn it from the Malaysia how they turn around their state-owned enterprises.
That is an extraordinary example.
You
Malaysia.
can learn from China how they run their state-owned enterprises. You know, the state-owned enterprises have to compete with the market forces. The state-owned enterprises which are doing the better, they will get the benefit ranking, the promotions, their people.
So lastly, I will ask, we are near to the concluding.
One moment, actually, you allow me.
Please.
I propose one thing for state-owned enterprises. Under CPEC, the first phase was government to government.
Government to government.
Second phase is business to business. I think government should explore one more corridor, state-owned enterprises to state-owned enterprises.
Wonderful. State enterprises to state enterprises.
For example, we are facing problem in steel mills. So China is producing the best quality steels in the world. They have the mills, they have enterprises. We are facing the problem in the railway.
And
China
they're
is
one of the
building the best of the world. Their state
They
enterprises.
have taken the railway track to Tibet even.
Within the PIE you're talking about. Even they are producing their own planes. We should bring a new corridor to the CPEC. State-owned enterprises to state-owned enterprises. It will help us. One way the government will have money.
You think government will be able to convince these all lending institutions, World Bank and all, to connect to CPEC?
Look, what is their problem with those institutions? They are saying they're loss making. You're giving them subsidy. If you're running and you're having investment and you're running it according to economic rational, it's a giving you a profit, and you are giving them zero subsidy. Rather, it's giving you a profit.
True.
Then what's the problem? In China, still their 30% of their GDP come from the state-owned enterprises.
30% of the GDP
Yes,
from
more
state
than 31%.
enterprises.
From the 18.4 trillion US dollar, you can imagine.
So what need to be done? If these commercial entities to be under the government control, then how to make them profitable?
Run them on the economic rational. Hire the people who know the stuff. And punish the people who make their wrong decision.
And corruption.
Who bring the more people to the PIA. You know there are 10 people
Political
required.
inductions.
You know that there are 10 people required. You bring the 100 people.
Then ultimately it will collapse.
It will collapse. Okay, you don't want to get them fired. Okay, give them the give them the targets. Look, this is 2 years. You have to make it profitable or go home.
Targets.
Targets.
Very
And it
good.
was economic rationals, not a political rationals.
So finally,
And one more thing which I mentioned, which very few people know it. The first privatization was, I think, done in the Italy, Mussolini.
Mussolini's leadership.
And he was socialist and he was, you can say, a communist. And that time, and Hitler, they did, those people they did, to benefit their cronies. It was not invented by the liberal economy.
Okay.
At that time, they were criticizing it. But later on, when the military industrial complex got strong in the West, they said it's a very profitable business. Why not we get it? Let it do it in our own system, bring it to the capitalism.
True.
So these are the facts we have to take care of those.
Finally, we are close to the program. Tell us these all sectors, privatization and taxation and reforms, governance, spending on education, health, these all ambitious programs. Do you think in 5 years' time frame, we will be able to do that type of hard work so that we may come up to the expectations of these institutions?
I think if there are two things we can talk it. If we talk about worldly, dunyavi, we have to make our governance work.
Again and again, the governance structure need to
Because
be built.
In a car, in a vehicle, if there is no engine, no matter how much fancy things they're putting it will not serve the purpose.
The basic thing you have said. So governance structure.
Governance. But the most important thing, we should start, you can say, defying the sayings of Allah, Allah's order. Allah ordered us finish the interest, riba, sood. And if you are going for that, Allah says, you have a fight, you have a war against me and my Prophet ﷺ. So being a Muslim,
Great.
we cannot succeed
Without eliminating this ribat. And important thing is, at the conclusion of this wonderful conversation is that governance sector reforms needs to be followed and completed. If governance structure is better, then of course every sector will perform. When every sector will perform, then ultimately Pakistan will grow on every front. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Shakeel Ramay, for this thought-provoking and this vibrant discussion on this very ambitious program by the World Bank that in next 10 years it will be spending phase-wise $40 billion in Pakistan. Thank you once again, and dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Allah Hafiz from studios.